Well, if Florence says it, it must be true. Good morning. The dog days of summer are supposed to be over tomorrow. So I'm expecting just cooler temperatures on Wednesday. We'll see. We'll see. One can hope, right? Welcome, wonderful Sonder family. It's really good to see y'all. We're a little smaller today. I think some of our educators are probably in their classroom setting up, getting ready. Maybe it's meet the team. The school that is like right out my window. I share an alley with a school. They started today. So here we are. It's back to school time. But it's so good to see y'all. And yeah, some of y'all said I saw it's a doozy. It was last week was a doozy of a week. Michelle was saying, Lori says, I needed a Monday. I needed to be here with y'all. We always say, come as you are. This is your space and your community. Oh, Stephanie, your grandson starts first grade. That's a big milestone. Congratulations. That's so fun. My grandkids are actually here today. I've got three of them. They're in a couple rooms over with Jimbo. So we'll see how that goes. I hope I don't get any, um, run bys in the background. They start school Wednesday, but yeah, it's so early. I remember when I was a kid, it was after Labor Day, right? Or maybe the week before, but you only did like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you'd have three days, and then you'd have Labor Day. So the next week would be 4 days, and then the next week would be 5 days. It was great. And we finished up before Memorial Day. I don't know. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. Forgot to say that. I'm in the Dallas, Texas area, and I'm your on-screen facilitator this morning. And then my co-pilot this morning is Katie Gideon, and she is hanging out in Oklahoma. We're kind of adjacent, but we are the former Team Texas. When we first started facilitating the socials together, she was in the Houston area, so we always call ourselves Team Texas. So I'm so glad she's here. Monday mornings can be a little tricky to staff with our facilitators because most everybody else has big jobs. Katie's waiting on a big job to start, but she could be here today so we could get together, and I'm so grateful for that. It's so good to see y'all. Sending lots of hugs for the tough stuff, man. We do. We always say just come as you are. We send lots of hugs, and if you you know kind of hang out long enough, you're going to get to know each other, so that's pretty good. um yeah, so Carla, I'm just reading, I'm kind of scrolling through the you have milestones that are kind of hanging out in your head. um some of y'all were saying it's a tough week. You know what, I was telling Katie, y'all know I lost my brother back in March, and things had been, I felt like I was getting a little more level, and then yesterday was a really, really hard day. Just one of those weird things. So grief is there, and we learn how to navigate together. And when we have a community that just, it hits so beautifully. Make sure that chat is set to everyone. That's how we're going to share with one another. And if you're just logging on, that's okay. You're not late. You're here. We're just glad to see you. Yeah. So this is a quote I use every year. August is the bridge between summer and autumn, between how the year has been and how the year will end. And there is this idea of the back to school mindset within just our communities. Things are a little different. We feel it, whether we're directly impacted by a back to school moment or we're just a community member. We feel it. There's sales out there, there's school zones, all that stuff. And so I think it creates this mental shift like, okay, we've almost made it through summer. Fall's on the way. So, anyhow, so yeah, so I was saying, if you've just joined us, July 3rd and through August 11th are considered the dog days of summer. I always thought it was about just a hot puppy dog, like just, and it actually has to do with the stars in the sky, that main star, that big O star Sirius, and that's the dog star. And so it was believed that, the Romans and Greeks noticed, man, it is hot when that star's out. So The dog days of summer are supposed to end tomorrow. So we're excited about that, right? I don't know. Maybe some of y'all aren't. Maybe you're like, no, we have too much winter. I like the tip. I'm excited about it though, because it is hot in Texas. So speaking of back to school, Maya is going to be doing a really fun a reset workshop, if you will. We always love hanging out with her because she brings that energy for this Silk and Sonder journal community, the whole vibe, right? And so we want to invite you to that. You don't have to be going back to school to get off autopilot and get back in control with your life. So this is a really good event to invite someone to the Silk and Sonder Magic. It's free, and we hope that we see y'all there. Maya's gonna be hanging out in the chat. So yeah, anyhow, but spots are limited. Zoom only lets us hold so many people. So make sure you sign up. And if you can't make it, go ahead and sign up so you will get the link, or you'll get like the email following it that will take you directly to the link. It'll be recorded. It will be on the YouTube channel. So you'll be able to do that. Community, we've already talked about community guidelines. We put these up every single time we gather together as that reminder about the spaces we create for ourselves and for one another. And if there's anybody here for the first time, we would invite you just to drop a, hey, me, I made it, I'm here for the first time. Put that in the chat because we want to get to know you and see you. But this is cameras off, mics off event. So you can hang in the background, um, you know, as you wish, or participate fully in the chat. So I know some of us like to show up, listen, take notes, but visit with with each other. Can you imagine if we met in real life every week, like we'd shut restaurants down? All righty, so let's get going with our day, our week. Yeah, no more school madness. Jennifer said she's an empty nester. And you know what? Yesterday at church, I have a couple of friends and they are sending their son to school. It's the first one going to college, and I was talking to his dads and they were like, oh, I was like, you it's like a bad breakup when that first one leaves. Then it's okay. We raise them to do this. Like if they're launching, good for you. But it is hard to say goodbye. So we're talking about velocity this month, and y'all, I can't remember who posted this now, but I thought, ooh, I'm gonna go put this on our velocity. It's the definition, and I love this because I've never done a doodle in the definition box, but I think I might start. And I loved this one because it like came after, like flow. It's got that flow state there. Um, Gentle, unhurried momentum of alignment. Oh, that's like the best definition of what this velocity journey is. So I thought that was kind of fun. Could be a Gloria doodle, yeah. But right, it's a good definition. Those words are perfect because when we first looked at velocity, we were like, ah. So I wanted to share that with y'all, and it may stay up here for the rest of the month. And then additionally, remember that August is National Wellness Month. And so the thing that can, Gloria, are you going to do a definition with a doodle now, though? I bet you do. She says it's not hers, but anyway, so framing that National Wellness Month, pairing it with our theme of velocity. Ooh, that's kind of powerful. All righty, so we're going to do our mind map. It's week 2 of our mind map. I've got both questions, both weeks worth of questions for you. Rosebud Thorn Reflection weekly setup pages. All righty. So this can be done anywhere in your journal. If you missed last week, we'll catch you up if you want. But these questions can also just stand alone. You don't have to ever catch up in your journal. You're not behind. You're right where you need to be. So we looked at we often think of moving fast, accelerating, rushing toward this finish line when that word velocity first hits our brains. But in this community, we are reframing it. And we just saw a beautiful example of that. So it's not just about speed, it's about direction and momentum. Direction and momentum. And remember, I think I said it was March of 2024. We had a whole month worth of momentum with that theme. So it's about intentionally moving toward the things that fill our cup. Perfect for Wellness Month. And then how we pivot away from what doesn't nourish us. So two sides of the same coin, right? Like also being aware of the things that are not good for us. So, all right, let's look at week 2. So last week was my true north, and we wrote down the one absolute primary direction we want our life's momentum to flow toward this month. And this week is the accelerator. And the question or the prompt is velocity requires fuel. Ah, are you filling your tank? Let's map out the single highest vibe trigger available to you right now. Write down the one micro habit or action that instantly elevates your mood and shifts your pace in under 5 minutes. All right, so there's my velocity mind map. I mentioned last week my direction was health, and it was going toward this 90-year-old version of me. I'm becoming very aware of that as I'm aging. This week for me, I said my one micro habit that elevates my mood and shifts my pace in under 5 minutes is my morning glass of warm lemon water. And it wakes me up. That ritual of drinking, that's the first thing I do. Second thing I do, I go to the bathroom and then I go get my lemon water. I get hydrated right off the top from sleeping all night. So I'm hydrating my body. I think that kicks my brain into gear, gets me going in the right direction. And I can tell if I've skipped that glass of water. Like if I didn't bring, lemon to travel, I can tell. I feel it later. So this has been my my one habit that will just, it's like, okay, time to have the day. So for me, that's the direction I took. I also have a couple of things, like if you're, it's too early, I can't think. Maybe something on that Monday morning, that Monday self-care list is a trigger, a 5 minute easy peasy thing. And there's a great graphic from Silk and Sonder about our mid-year habits for our mind, body, and soul. Maybe something on there. If you don't have like your bank of things to do, start working on that. I told y'all I keep it on my phone too. I have a distractions list that I keep on my phone so I can pull it up if I'm feeling anxious, if I'm if I need to de-escalate my brain, it's right there. I've got my tools. And then I also, this is a graphic that you've seen before, but like ideas for mini breaks at work. And this was in somebody's repurposed shopping list. And so perhaps while you're thinking about that, maybe your little 5 minute, you make a 5 minute or less list of just a few things for a period in your day. All right, let me put on a smidge of music and I'll go back and forth between these slides. We want to hear what is your go-to reset thing that's less than 5 minutes? I love exercises like this because it helps us see we're already doing good things for ourselves. But when we are intentional about looking for those things that we do to refuel our souls, it's so good. And committing it to paper does some stuff in your brain so that it's front and center. So, good job on that one. And I have to laugh. I'm going to date myself. A long time ago, when I was like a teenager, there was a big ice cream chain called Farrell's Ice Cream. And Kayla wrote, classes at Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping. And I just laughed because we used to go to Farrell's Ice Cream Parlor and everybody wore old fashioned stuff. And they had like piano music going in the background and all this delicious ice cream and terrible food for you. So, Kayla, you've shifted what I think of when I hear Farrell's ice cream. That's so funny. They used to have a trough. Do y'all remember that? It was like six big O scoops, and like if you ate it, I never did that, but if somebody ate it, they like rang a bell and did a whole thing. Anyway, yeah, yeah, yeah. And in the pig trough. Okay, I'm bringing back memories for some. Anyway, it was funny that there it's also a workout place now. Um, so good for you guys working on that micro habit. And I'm going to encourage you, maybe there's spaces in your setup this week that you can inspire with some of these 5-minute mind map ideas and make sure that you're embracing them. So, our next activity that is a standard of our setups each week is the Rosebud Thorn Reflection. Of course, we're celebrating the things that went well last week. They can be very small wins, but the things that brought you joy, happiness, the buds are what we're looking forward to, and the thorns are what didn't go well or what were challenges. And I know a lot of you said, um that it just was a humdinger of a week last week, and so if it just wasn't vibing, that's okay. And sometimes things go away and sometimes thorns stay, and we have lessons to learn from them. So it's about, and that's why we do this reflection. It helps us be intentional with it. So I'm feeling, my thorn is I'm just feeling overcommitted and tired. I mentioned that, like yesterday, I don't know, it was just a hard day, hard grief day. And I think some of that is I'm tired and I've got a lot of stuff on my calendar, stuff that I love doing, but didn't know I'd be doing a lot of extras like for my mom. And so I'm just like, ugh, in that slump. But the bud that is giving me hope is I found a grief share program that will last through November on Wednesday nights. And that's going to start next week. And I'm very excited about getting some help with my grief journey. Carla, thank you for saying that. I had never heard of grief share, and my brother's wife mentioned that she was going to start doing it. And I thought, let me see what's in my area. So it is faith-based, but I'm just so excited about finding that because I was trying to look for a counselor, grief. Anyway, so I'm excited. I've got some tools coming my way. And then my rose. Oh my gosh, y'all know it was Camp Grand Happy last week. So that was just, we had just had a great week. We took the two biggest to the cabin and oh, love it. Okay, I love that. So see, we all do that. Oh, you're a facilitator, Leanne. Love that. Oh man. Okay, so see, we've got another thing that's brought us together. And I wanted to share with you because y'all are some of my people, and I think it's important that we talk about this stuff because we tend to not as a society. So yeah. Anyway, trying to keep that there. All righty, friends. Let's reflect on last week and share in the chat. Like, what were your roses, buds, and thorns? We're going to celebrate together, and we're going to hold each other, hold that space for the tougher things. Righty, as you see in the chat that there are tough thorns this week, and we're holding definitely holding space for you with that cancer diagnosis. And y'all are jumping in immediately. I'm a survivor. I did this. We are here for you. And that's what this is all about is this community. We show up where we are, and that's why you have community, because not everybody's going to be up at the same time. So when folks are down, we have folks that things are going great and they're like, I'm here for you. And then life happens and we might swap spaces, right? And places. So, yeah, just show up to one another for one another. And anyhow, yeah. And Leanne's asking, how do you comment to a particular post? Leanne, Zooms have this new update. Usually what can happen if you go cover over the message, you'll get a little selection box where it's a conversation cloud or an emoji, and then it's got ellipses so that you can delete something if you accidentally spelled something wrong or whatever. But you have to have the latest update in Zoom. So, and the verdict is out on if we love this or not. Because if you comment on something way back, it brings it forward and then the order gets kind of crazy. But remember, if those roses and buds are hard to find, today's a new day and you woke up, and so it could just be like, I'm gonna try to have a mind shift change. I'm gonna see where I can reclaim my power. And maybe that's your bud. Sometimes it's hard to find those roses when there's big overwhelm. So thank you, friend. Thank you for sharing and just showing up the way you are, everybody. Appreciate that. All righty. So let's get our weekly plan set up. And if it's a tough time, be gentle with yourself. Don't fill this page with stuff that's going to just make, maybe your page has become all about self-care, right? And so you're going to really lean into that. What I'll do this morning, I'm going to go through all of page one. We'll put on a little bit of music. And then we'll do all of page two. We'll put on a little bit of music. So, but anything I show you today could be incorporated in any of the spaces that are on our journal. We've got this pre-printed journal that helps guide us, but you are welcome and invited to use the spaces as you see fit for what you need. So we'll be on pages 40 and 41, and I always like to do show and tell, let you just see kind of what our folks are doing. These are a couple, you can see some fun to-dos over there in the form of a bingo, the one on the right, the one on the left. The to-do space has been repurposed into some quotes that are supporting the goals. So you can see there's mind, body, soul, or body, mind, soul, with a couple of little ways they're going to get those goals met, but they've got quotes supporting that, which I thought was, sometimes we need to be our biggest cheerleader. So maybe in your setup, you find a way to cheer yourself on. The habits and activities, set a goal, don't set a goal, leave it blank, just use it as a tracker, whatever you want. There's a couple of great words for how we want to feel: radiant, balanced. Courtney's looking for the opposite of overwhelmed, maybe settled. Courtney, I don't know. Y'all throw some names out there or some words out there if you have something that you think the opposite of overwhelmed. Um, Grounded, that's a good one. Serene. Oh, okay. There you go. You're getting some good words there. And then also notice the one on the right. The second goal for the week was less TV and more reading. And I always love that duality of more and less, bring in, let go, all that kind of stuff. Alrighty, here's a couple more. I've really been digging like the orange. I had a pretty orange example last week. The oranges are really speaking to me. The to-dos on the one on the left are directly informed by those three goals: health, business, home life. And then the one on the right, the to-do list is a straight up to-do list. And then I love the weekly major three goals. It looks like there's kind of like this personal goal and then maybe the work goals. And so they've divided that in half. And I thought that was kind of neat because we have different roles in our life. So that might be a neat way to maybe set your goals for like, here's what I need to do for me at home, and here's what I need to do for me in a different situation. Alrighty. And I also love like amazing and the little like it looked like a Ruth Bader Ginsburg collar there. Amazing. We all need to wear that. But you can also just use a sticker. Okay, so and then this one is a little bit older, but I brought it back around because this was sort of this idea of a reward system. And I think that's kind of neat. I popped up that habit and activity tracker. So you can see. So if yes, Gloria, I was going to ask you if it was one of your old ones. But you can see Gloria has assigned herself points for like if she like one of her things she was working on was limiting scrolling, and if it was 2.5 hours each day, she got 1 point. But if she did less than an hour and a half, she gave herself 3 points. Anyway, everything had a point assignment. Sometimes it's fun to reward yourself. Like I was a star student, where I loved seeing stars put on the big poster board in class. So let's do that. And then her rewards were small, simple things like if she got 10 to 12 points, she carved out space for an iced coffee on her porch. But I love it. Yeah, you do. How low can I go? Right. And then if she got a lot of points, she went and got herself a new succulent. So this is just a fun way to play games with yourself, but to kind of motivate. We do need some of us need a little more rewarding than others. And yeah, I love the in sync and bye bye bye, and it's gonna be me and this, I promise you, were the three goals. So I wanted to bring that one around. That's an old one. I don't remember when you did it, Gloria, but obviously I loved it and wanted to, just bring that forward again because we haven't seen it in a bit. So perhaps you think of ways to build in a reward system for yourself. So we're already talking about how we want to feel this week. Um, I wanted you to look at the one. I know it's kind of hard to read, but this bigger example, I've not really seen this how I want to feel space kind of divided out this way. So I thought I'd share that with you in case you wanted to repurpose that space in a certain way. It appears to me, and if this is yours, let me know, but it appears to me like where it says goal, and then she's got Monday through the weekend written out there, kind of tracked it. I think those might be directly influenced by her intention spaces. So she's got some intent, like, community, spiritual health. So she went and looked at her intentions. She's putting it where she can see it. And then she's got some things over on the other side where she actually numbered the days of the week there. So, um, it was just an unusual or not unusual, a different way to use this. How do I want to feel space? In case you wanted to maybe take this space into a different, use it a different way. All right, then there's some fun words. If you're still looking, drop in the chat how you are wanting to feel this week. Again, you can throw a sticker here if that's what works for you. You can have a feeling for every day. Look at what's coming. Okay, we got another question. What is opposite? What would the opposite of resentful be? Ooh, okay, friends, come up with your words there for Michelle so that she can embrace and have a mindset going into this week that's a little more peaceful, gracious, yeah, so accepting, yeah, keep all your words coming because we can encourage one another. So let's look at those three major goals. We got some new examples to show you here. I love vibrant. This person wants to be happy, healthy, and alive. And there's that orange again. I don't know. My eye is finding all those orange things. The idea of using a tracker for your three major goals there: fresh air, hydrate, protein shake, and checking that off every day. So I love that. And I also love the major goals that are set up like each day, what is an early part of the day goal, a midday goal, and an evening goal. So just breaking those up, that mindset for each day. Here's what I want to do early. Here's my middle of the day check in. So that's kind of a neat way to set that space up. And I'll go through all of these while y'all are working on this. Then we have some trackers made in this three major goals. The AM and PM routine. I'm always making a tracker somewhere because I'm always having to shore up those routines of mine. So this person is having their morning and evening routine. The one on the left, right there in the goals. Like that's the goal, is to jive with the routine. We've got an expenses tracker repurpose in the middle, and then someone else has dedicated the whole space to their morning self-care. And then that takes us right in the to-dos. Do y'all use the Eisenhower matrix? We bring it up on the weekly, but I'm wondering if you've used it, what you thought about it, and if you have some distractions that are keeping you from refueling, as we did that mind map. Maybe you do this week and try putting those distraction things in the delete box and get rid of them, get some power to paper. But we do recommend this Eisenhower matrix for lots of the to-dos, dividing your to-do list into need, want, and hope to do can, kind of take some pressure off of a to-do list that makes you feel like I'm not going to get it done. Maybe some of those things go on the hope to do, and you give yourself that grace if you don't get it done. It was just a wish for the week. Um and then we've got some examples of the three goals, and the to-dos are directly tied to them. And so it's really what you need. And then this quote, positive energy, that's in this person's to-do space. And it's so funny because I slapped this on the screen and then I realized I had used this quote again. So I think the universe is trying to tell me something. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. And I had actually, ta-da, put that on the habit and activity tracker. So I'm thinking I'm needing to lean into that personally this week. Here are some simple habits you can do. I follow Adrian Chavez. I love him on Instagram, and he's really good about the simple habits. He really aligns well with James Clear, so that might be a follow you look into. And he's really good about, we're talking about wellness this month, so those are some great suggestions. And like, we know all the things on that list, right? We know that we should have a piece of fruit paired with some yogurt or snack or cheese, right? Like protein, carb. But when you can pull it from one space, give it power to paper, it changes everything. There's some easy self-care habits for mindfulness, taking care of our mental wellness. So perhaps some of those things will inspire somewhere in this page. And there's different ways of setting up the habit tracker. Y'all notice the one on the bottom there? There's like an AM PM line drawn straight across. So those little circles are subdivided. I thought that was a great idea. But also, someone else has repurposed this space and they're not tracking it, but they are doing a little reflection, and it's tiny, tiny, tiny. It says, I am proud of you. You do not rise to snapping at others. So like some kindness to self. So good for that mental wellness. So maybe this becomes a reflection space in that way. Thought I'd share that with y'all. We've got some 10 fun things over there, the 10 habits. Someone else is using this whole space as their bedtime routine. And so maybe you have an area of your life that you dedicate this whole tracker to for that. And yeah, let me put on some music. I'll go back through all these slides for page one and let us know what you're doing, how you're going to be setting things up. What are you tracking this week? What are you struggling with? And keep dropping stuff in the chat if you need a little support. You need to find the words. Maybe you even need to find the habits to support how you want to feel. Drop that in the chat if you need that, because we're here for one another. I love the support in the chat. You guys are amazing for each other and kind of thinking about how you want your um week to look like. I love Ellen said, I think I need to do a non-work screen time. Um, yeah, I know I get so distracted, right? When that's so yeah, that's good. I love that. She says it is unrealistic for me not to be on the screen internet for work 8 to 10 hours a day, but when it isn't work related would probably be a good goal. So I love that. That way you can, yeah, like what and think when you're trying to eliminate stuff, this is for all of us, including myself, it's like, what's the substitute activity, right? Like, what's your go-to so that now you have a plan because, we are our own worst enemies when it comes to like we know what we should and shouldn't do, but like, do you have a novel that you could put next to your computer. And that way you're like, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Something like that to sort of shift your mindset. All righty, friends, let's go take a look at the second part of our setup, this page two, if you will. I love the repurposed menu planner here. It's just beautiful stickers. And the very top of it says, remember. And it's got all, be kind to your mind. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So, like some positive things to remember. Write down three things you like about yourself today. Mind, body, health plan. Beautiful. We want to take good care of ourselves. The shopping list, again, just really utilizing those stickers that want to be stuck. If you are a sticker person, go grab them. Then the one next to it, you can see that the meal plan is the meal plan, and the mind, body, health plan is about how they're taking care of their body, strength, Zumba, a rest day. And then their shopping list, ta-da! They're going to celebrate all those extras that they get done. And I love like ta-da's at the top and way to goes at the bottom. So just some, again, being our best cheerleader. Here's some meal plan. The first two examples here set up for meals. The other one, you can see that this is really good for our wellness month. We've got like go outside, let's meditate, let's do a little yoga. So again, having that plan, maybe your meal planner is full of the replacement things for those habits you're trying to give up. And so you put that little planner there, little meal plan for your soul kind of thing. Speaking of, there's that meal plan for the soul reflection piece. Someone else has repurposed their meal plan and then put their dinner plans over in the mind body health plan. So that one main meal of the day gets some power to the paper, but we're not using the whole menu plan for it. There is our workout, a way to set this up for working out that someone is doing, the calories burned. They got 12,000 steps. I am so impressed with that person. And then mind body health plan, y'all. I loved this graphic, and I think I'm going to write this somewhere on my journal. Check on yourself as much as you check Instagram. That is so good, right? So it had to go in the slide deck this week. Here are some repurpose or uses of that mind body health plan. And the one in the middle, the big one there, I put what they wrote in Sonder Club. The daily movement is in pink. And so they've color coded, and then mindfulness in green. So both like mind body health, right? There, it's literally there and it's color coded to help this person kind of see that. But maybe your mind body health needs to feed your soul with like a song list for the week. I know that choosing music for our times together just does a lot of good for me. So, make sure that you're listening to some of those favorite things, your hype songs, your walk-ups. Like, what would your walk-up song be? That might be a good opening activity sometime. Anyway, we've got self-care bingo, just a sticker over there. See the good in all things. And then some shopping list. Of course, it can be a shopping list, but maybe you repurpose it. And it looks like I'm still in mind, body, health, and I got my slides reversed there, but there's some more mind, body, health space there. And some more eat the rainbow. Remember, I was trying to eat more colors in my life, and this person like put all the things so that they've got that to, way to go. And then speaking of songs, I think that one was Nicole's. It was right when Taylor Swift's album came out. And so she grabbed some of those lyrics and filled her mind body health space with that. And then here are some general slides that could inform any of the spaces on either one of these pages. So glimmers, maybe you need a mindfulness challenge for the week, things like clean out your inbox, practice monotasking, which is hard for the female brain to do. We tend to want to multitask, and then maybe we're not as effective. Sonia, yes, you do those glimmers. It's just such a powerful thing for your mind. So if you are feeling a little down in the dumps right now, maybe you dedicate a space to trying to find a small glimmer every single day. It will be so good for your brain to do that. Alrighty, 20 questions to find your best self. Maybe a little reflection moment somewhere on one of these pages. So you could just kind of hand pick a couple of questions to ask yourself this week and do a little reflection there. That would be great for the menu repurpose. And then we've got the seven, I showed these last week, so you're seeing them again, the 7-day positivity challenge. The self-care starts on Monday. That's again, great for wellness, great for your well-being. You know, what if you take a different way to the grocery store or to work? Like, what does that do for you? It makes your brain a little more flexible by breaking out of habits that you're just doing. Like, we don't think about that. And then there's that 5 days to schedule each month. So maybe one of those days shows up in your space. This week, here's our National Day of Calendar, and today is actually Lazy Day. And so here we are trying to set up our week and be productive, but maybe you do need a little bit of laziness in your life. Rest is an activity. So I love that. And yes, Amanda, yay for neuroplasticity. We want to challenge those brains. So it's lazy day today. The 15th is relaxation day, and August 13th is my 43rd anniversary, and it happens to be filet mignon day and prosecco day. So I think I've got my menu planned for that night. And then we've got the calendars that we've been embracing. So if you're picking these things up, you know, maybe some of these show up. I've been doing the monthly themed calendars from Silk and Sonder in my menu plan and just doing that reflection. And I may not write, I may just sit and ponder it, but it gives me a little, take a beat, Jennifer. Just give it this 1 or 2 minutes. And I know lots of us are going back to work, or maybe you're in a community organization, a volunteer role, and maybe you can find some folks to do this challenge with you. Maybe your neighbors. You can pick 1 or 2 things and incorporate that in there. Oh, I love that, Leanne. Yes, go have a filet mignon and a little glass of sparkly for your husband. That would be beautiful. Alrighty, so some more music's gonna go on. I'm embracing Lazy Day this go round with this song, and let us know how you'll be using this page. Lori, I agree. That's why we love each other so much. She said the chat is so helpful and informative today that I'm just sitting back and I will do my own journaling later. And for sure, that is what this community is all about. And that is that's like the Silk and Sonder difference, I think, when you're looking at journals and structures, but to be able to do all of that with a community that's got you, I mean, that is so, so powerful. So, very quickly, I would like to ask you to just kind of close your eyes for 1 second, take one big deep breath, and then drop in the chat. Think about what are you loving right now at this very moment? Even if things have been feeling heavy, like what can bring a little glimmer to your life right this very moment? Drop what you are loving in the chat. Courtney, I love that. Starting a fresh new week, trusting yourself, the Sonder family. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a show. Loving being back on a Monday morning. We're glad you're here, Alice. Picking veggies from the garden. Oh, Joanne, I love that. Mine is dying. Peacefulness. I love this. Starting a fresh week. Embrace what you see pop in that chat. There's good stuff out there, and it's found in the Sonder community. We would encourage you to share that weekly planner because that's how we get these wonderful ideas to share with this community, with one another, to inspire each other. Again, another shout out to that back to school, back to you. Even if you're school adjacent and you're no longer living that back to school world, it's still kind of there. We want to encourage you to come hang out with your Sonder family to do that. Of course, we have the personal life coaching. I know many of you are on the life coaching platform and find that so helpful. And then finally, there's our playlist. I send you lots of light and love for a fabulous week this week, Sonder family. Thank you for showing up for each other. Oh, it's so great. Yes, you're school adjacent, Amanda, for sure. Y'all have a perfect day. We'll see you soon. Katie and I are so glad you hung out with us today.